Hello, and welcome to Perfecting Your Prose, a 6-week tour of duty in the hallowed bowels of the English language. I'm your instructor, Tex Thompson, serving at the pleasure of our benevolent digital overlords at the Loft Literary Center. And I gotta tell you guys, I am super excited about getting to present this class, because one of the things that I've noticed, and maybe you've noticed it too, is that we have no shortage of resources to help us with those bigger picture issues in our writing, right? Things like plot, characterization, dialogue, pacing. There's lots of great stuff out there to help us with those big macro elements of good writing. But there's not nearly so much that I've found that deals with the microscopic elements of great writing. And I think one of the reasons for that is that many, if not the majority, of amazing great writers out there got to be amazing great writers without ever really understanding why their work was so good, right? Because if you read a million books and you've written a million words, you're probably putting out excellent, excellent writing, but you don't necessarily know why your good stuff is so good. And so you're really not in a position to help anybody else get there. So unfortunately, I do feel like that contributes to an atmosphere where writers are seen as people who got all A+ in high school and college English, or mad geniuses who can just sort of magically intuit that this sentence should be like this and that sentence should be like that. And everybody else is, of course, a hopelessly illiterate Visigoth who should just put a bag over their head and go back to, playing Candy Crush. And it's not true. It's really not. So this course is designed to kind of help correct that imbalance by focusing almost exclusively on those microscopic elements of writing. And this video is designed to show how we intend to do that. What this course is going to look like, what our mission objectives are, how these concepts are going to be presented, and finally, the tips that you can use to be successful in this course. So here's how we're planning to do it. For week 1, I thought we would start with the smallest molecular unit of writing, which is to say the word. How do we go about choosing words? If you've got 4 different words rattling around in your mind and they each pretty much mean the same thing, how do you select the best one for any given purpose? In week 2, we'll expand that to include pairing and grouping words into phrases. What makes words pair well together? How should you combine particular sets of words to achieve different effects? In week 3, we'll move up to sentences. How to craft sentences for maximal impact. Where do you want a long sentence? Where do you want a short sentence? How many pauses should this sentence have in order to do what you want it to do? And we'll expand on that in week 4 when we talk about crafting sentences for clarity. How do we make this sentence say what we want to say in the neatest, cleanest, shortest, most precise way possible? In week 5, we'll expand up to paragraphs. Where do we want long paragraphs? Where do we want short ones? How should we break them up? How do we manipulate the white space on the page to do what we want to do in a given scene? And in week 6, we'll cap everything off by looking at how those techniques can be applied to the bigger picture. How you can use these same ideas to enhance your scenes, your chapters, your short stories, your novels, whatever big picture stuff you've got going on as well. So the mission objective for this whole entire course is for you to walk out of here knowing absolutely everything there is to know about the English language. And needless to say, I am totally kidding, of course. Yes, you can absolutely get a judo grip on the English language, but you're probably not going to do it in 6 weeks. So that maybe is a little bit too lofty for us. But here's what you can do in 6 weeks, and here's what I really want you to have when you finish this course. Number 1, we'd love for you to finish here having an excellent vocabulary of writing terms that you can use to help yourself after the course is finished. Because really, y'all, this is the big thing right here. This right here is worth the price of admission. If you know the words, if you know things like assonance, consonants, alliteration, positions of emphasis, bicolons, tricolons, epithets, ellipses, whatever it is, if you know that the thing is a thing, that it has a name, then you are much, much better equipped to help yourself study that thing, whatever it is, on your own time. I'd also like for you to have the ability to analyze the structure, patterns, and the rhetorical devices of any given text. So that the next time you crack open a book by your favorite author, you're not just staring at the page saying, "Oh my God, why are you so awesome?" You are instead looking at it and saying, oh, look at that, look at what he's doing. He totally did this thing here so that he could do this thing here, and this matches that. That's amazing. So I would love for you to finish this course having that ability to look at any given text and notice what the author is doing to help make it effective, or what they could be doing to make it even better. That, in turn, should leave you with much more confidence in your own writing, because by the time you finish here, you should know why your good stuff is so good and what you want to do to make it even better. So those are the goals that I have for this course, and here's how we're going to get there. Our weekly game plan, this is what we're going to do for any given week. We'll start by introducing a concept, a big idea, whatever it may be. That'll probably take the form of you watching a video, reading an article, doing something like that just to get your feet wet with this new idea, whatever it is. Then we'll go to step 2 and analyze that concept. This is where I would probably have you study a text or take a quiz or do some kind of activity to help you practice with this concept. From there, we'll go to step 3, which is where you're going to apply the concept, usually with a sample of writing that I will give to you and say, here, take this, revise it, improve it. Use the concept to make this writing even better. And finally, in step 4, you can demonstrate your mastery of the concept by submitting your own writing for me and for your fellow students to review and critique. This is where you really show what you've learned by giving us a piece of your own writing for us to, to help analyze and to help perhaps improve even further. So to help you be successful in this course, I would like to talk briefly about what you can do to maximize the return on your investment here. For one thing, please do make sure that you work through the activities in order. Again, we got those steps 1 through 4 real carefully laid out, and the activities that I've set up are designed for you to work through those steps in order to get the most out of every week's content. Number 2, please do participate as much as you are able in the discussion forums. Because let's face it, if all you needed was my cute face on a video, we could do this whole thing on YouTube. And the wonderful thing about Loft, which I'm sure that you also know if you've ever worked in like a study group or a writer's workshop or an exercise class or anything, is that being with a group of people who are all trying to do the same thing you are and you're all working towards a common goal is a great way to help everyone get there. So definitely take advantage of your fellow students and, really participate with them as much as you participate with, between you and I individually. I'd also like for you to make really sure that when you interact with your fellow students, you're giving thoughtful, constructive feedback. Because let's face it, you guys, it's 2014. This is nobody's first rodeo. We've all been on Facebook arguments. We've all seen the toxic cesspool that are the comment sections of any given news article. And we know how easy it is when we have a computer screen to interact with to lose track of the human being on the other side of it. So for this class, I really need you to do everything you can to help reach around that computer screen and keep the human on the other side, the person on the other side of it, foremost in your mind whenever you're interacting with them. Also, I know this may sound kind of cornball, but please definitely do take notes. Because, like you remember what it was like being in high school, sprawled out on your desk watching the lecture go by. And maybe you would remember it or maybe you wouldn't. But if you're watching with your eyes, you're listening with your ears, you're writing with your hand, and you're thinking with your mind, you are giving yourself 4 different avenues for that information to come to your brain and hopefully stay there. So whatever system you have, if you like to handwrite, if you prefer to type notes on a computer, whatever your system is, use that, but definitely do give yourself as many avenues as possible for what you're learning to come to you and to stay in your mind. Conversely, please definitely don't wait until the end of the week to start working on the week's activities. Because even though we don't have set lecture times, once a week's activities open up, all your fellow students are going to be getting started on those things, and you are, again, going to really want to be able to interact with them and run in the pack as much as possible. So definitely don't try to wait until the end of the week, and don't wait and try to do everything all at once. Again, developing a mental skill is a lot like developing a physical skill. And if your goal is to get in shape, you are much better served going to the gym 30 minutes 3 times a week than you are sitting on the couch all week and then going in on Saturday for 2 hours to kill yourself on the weight machines. So try to give yourself a number of small exposures to the material through the week. do a little bit, go away, think about it in the shower, sleep on it, come back, do a little bit more, rinse and repeat. Also, please, whatever you do, don't suffer in silence. You know, I'm really delighted that you've chosen to take this class, and I really want you to get everything you can out of it. So if you're having an issue, or if you have questions about the content, about the course, about how something works, please let me know. I prefer that you would start by sending me a message in the forums so that other students who might have similar questions can see our interaction and benefit from that. If you need to contact me privately, you can do that by emailing me at tex@thetextfiles.com. But with that said, now that I've got you totally stoked for this class, your next steps are going to be to head down to the forums, introduce yourself. You know, now that we've talked about the class and what it is, I would love to hear about you and who you are and what you like to write, what your goals are, so that we can help you with that. I also need you to read the student agreement and work through those introductory activities before you get started on week 1. So if you have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, please know that I am totally excited to have you in class. I'm really looking forward to working with you guys. So I'll see you online.